You're talking anywhere from $100 to $200 or $300 a month difference in that mortgage payment.
Welcome to the Service to Syndication Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, capital raisers in the world who have worn the uniform of this great country, those who provide services to our men and women in uniform, and other service-oriented professionals to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer your dreams and goals in real estate and to use this wealth creation vehicle so you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of generosity and prosperity. If what you desire is time, lifestyle, and financial freedom, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, the knowledge, experience, skills, so you can go out and crush it in whatever real estate asset class you desire. So grab a pencil and paper, sit back, and enjoy the ride on the Service to Syndication Podcast. Hello, my servicemen and women and other service providers. Welcome to another episode of the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast. I am your host, Cedric Marlow. I am a U.S. Navy vet. Here on the Service to Syndication Real Estate Podcast, we interview the most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world, where most have donned the uniforms of our great country. We aim to provide the tool sets, the mindsets, and skill sets for you to achieve your personal and business goals while using real estate as a wealth creation vehicle to help you live a more successful, happy, and fun-filled life. I am super excited today because I have with me Mr. James Tillett. He is a top-notch realtor in the Indianapolis market. But before I properly introduce our exciting guest to you, I want to ask a favor of you. Please, if you get some value out of this interview, if you get some type of insight, mindset shift, if you learn a new skill, new information, receive inspiration or motivation to go out and take some progress in your life, please share this episode with some of your friends. Send it to someone you know who might be or could be interested in real estate. Share it on your social media, post it on your wall, and share it in your stories. Help us spread our message while you help others. And for all of you who share this episode, I want to say thank you. Again, everyone, I have with me Mr. James Tillett. James is a U.S. Army veteran, retired lieutenant colonel, and dedicated realtor who helps veterans and first-time home buyers make home ownership simple, stress-free, and achievable. With 28 years of military leadership and a background in manufacturing and logistics, James brings discipline, integrity, and precision to every real estate transaction. Known for his VA loan expertise and personalized approach, he guides clients step by step through the home buying process, turning what can feel overwhelming into an empowering journey toward owning a home. All right. First off, James, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So, James, before you became this very successful person I see in front of me, in about 2 to 3 minutes, give our listeners a little bit of your backstory, like where you grew up, how was your upbringing, and what in your past shifted your mindset in becoming the person you are today.
Well, I grew up in Missouri and went to school there at Northwest Missouri State University before I entered the Army. Long time ago. Had active duty for about 7.5 years and then decided to move on to other things. Then jumped into reserves as well. Spent some time in the Army Reserve, and then 9/11 happened and was mobilized for quite a while until I retired basically in 2012, helping get service members ready to go to deploy and do those things during the war on terror. During that time, I also worked with because I was in the Army Reserve, did manufacturing and those type of things as my regular job. And finally got to the point where I said, I need to find something that I can control my schedule a little bit better and do those kind of things. And real estate came up and I jumped in, and it's been great.
Awesome. So, James, you had a very impressive background, as I mentioned, 28 years in the Army, leadership roles in manufacturing and logistics, and now success in real estate. What inspired your transition into becoming a realtor?
Well, that's kind of a funny story. I had a friend of mine that was getting ready to set up his own brokerage and called me and said, "Hey, are you interested in real estate?" I said, "Well, maybe. I've thought about it for a while and haven't really, spent the time to really dig into it." He says, "Well, you got to think about it." And so I thought about it and did some research and talked to the wife and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And she says, "Yeah, I think we need to do this." So I jumped in with both feet, and I'm happy I made that transition, and it's been great ever since.
That's great. That's great. I mean, you can't find a better opportunity than joining with a friend, That's awesome. That's awesome. So, how have your military values and leadership experience shaped your approach to serving clients in real estate?
Well, I think it's the mentality of always completing the mission, always making sure that you communicate well and doing those things that are required to have a successful outcome. And I think that's the biggest thing that brings, and the hard work that we normally do in the military. We're running from sun up to sundown, and most days, and you can do that in real estate, or you can just kind of passively sit and not make anything. But because you know how to work hard, you can succeed.
Okay. All right. So, you've been active in giving back to the veteran community through ESGR and other initiatives. Now, how does that commitment show up in your real estate work today?
Well, I think it helps show that I am still part of that community and willing to help. And that helps me when I have people that show up and say, "Hey, tell me about this. How do I do the VA loan or anything like that?" And sometimes those other things come up about, "Hey, I'm still in the Army and doing this. I had this problem. Can you help me figure this out?" Because I'm attached to ESGR, I can do that and send them the information they need to get help in resolving an issue that they have with their employers or something else in that matter. So it's really been a good combination of things when I have that ability to help, whether they decide to buy a house with me or not. It doesn't matter.
Right, right. That's it. Just sharing the knowledge and information that you have. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Still being a team player.
That's it.
Yep. The process of buying a home can feel overwhelming from perspective. And what are key first steps someone should take before they start house shopping?
Well, there's several steps. The first thing is take a look at their finances and figure out whether or not they're able to afford something. And if they're not sure, contact a professional, either a mortgage broker or something of that nature, their bank, to see if they can qualify for a loan and what that would take to do that. And then contact a real estate agent to help them through that process. It's not a simple process. Everybody thinks that it just happens, and it doesn't. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that make all that work together. And that's why we are here as the real estate agents to help that process.
Okay. Okay. Now, what are some of the most common mistakes you see first-time home buyers make, and how can they avoid those?
Well, the first thing is trying to go and look at homes and everything else without knowing what they can afford. Okay, so they think that their rent is let's say $1,000 a month, so they think that they should be able to afford $1,000 mortgage payment, right? Well, it doesn't exactly work that way, and so the first thing they need to do is make sure that they understand what they can afford, and then we can go look for homes in that price range. Because there's nothing worse than showing someone a $400,000 house when they're only qualified for $300,000. They fall in love with that $400,000 house and they can't afford it. And now anything they look in that $300,000 range doesn't look as nice, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree with that, because once you see that big opulent kitchen, the backyard, and the 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, and you fall in love with that, and that's what you want. And then, and like you say, now you have to step down to like this $300,000 house, and the space is maybe not as big and opulent as what you just saw, and it takes a toll on a person.
It does indeed.
like this episode. So please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so you can be notified when the next episode drops. Yeah. So now along that same line, can you walk us through what a buyer consultation looks like with you and why it's such an important step before starting your search?
Absolutely. So I sit down with my clients and talk them through the process. That includes from getting pre-qualified, what their credit score is, and how that fits into those things to do all the management of getting a loan and that kind of stuff. If they need help with finding a lender, I help them do that. And we talk about what happens in the process once they're pre-qualified and we go find a home, how that works. We go show homes and set those appointments and those type of things. And then talk to them about the next steps. Once they decide on a home, we put the offer in and then go from there. And so we just walk through all those steps with them so they understand not only what's going to happen, but what the costs are involved, because there are some costs that happen prior to close that they're responsible for. Earnest money has to be put down, right? For once the the offer is accepted. Inspections, those things have to happen, and who pays for those, and what happens in that process. All those things, we have that discussion, and then as we do that, I allow them to ask questions and say, "Do you understand this or that?" and go from there. So as we get through all that process, I hand them a little sheet that says, "Hey, this is what goes on for the buyer side of the house process. We can get through all that, no problems. I'll help you with that in process, and I'm here to work on your behalf to make sure that you get the best deal for what you are looking for."
Okay. All right. So as I mentioned in your bio, you specialize in helping veterans and military families. Can you explain the unique benefits of the VA loan and that many veterans might not fully understand?
Absolutely. The VA loan is a benefit that all service members should take advantage of, because there is no what's called PMI, or primary mortgage insurance, that is attached to that mortgage, which means that they're not paying extra for the insurance. So that escrow amount that goes with that mortgage payment is reduced. So your mortgage payment is actually a little bit less than what a normal mortgage would be with that escrow for that insurance included.
Okay. Yeah. And that is a huge, huge savings that, well, like you said, compared to someone who does not have the VA loan as an option, it saves you quite a bit of money. And especially in the long run, it definitely helps you out a lot. So that's very, very key. I love the VA loan, and serving our country, at times it may have seemed rough and we all sacrificed a lot, but the VA loan is definitely one of those benefits that we all should be able to take advantage of, and helps us out for some of those sacrifices that we had.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking anywhere from $100 to $200 or $300 a month difference in that mortgage payment because of that. That's a huge difference. That means you can afford maybe a little bit bigger house than what others would be if you had not had that opportunity.
Right. Absolutely. Now, along that same line, what are some of the common misconceptions about VA loans that you often help clients overcome?
That they can use it more than once. So some only think that they can use it once and it's done. That's not true. Now, if it's on your current home that you now have, then you have to work through the process to be able to get it attached to the new home that you buy when the other one's sold. And so that's one of the things that is not really understood very well, that it can be transferred and started on a new home. I've used my VA loan for several different houses on that process. And for each time, you go in and you get your full amount and move forward with it. So that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of veterans understand, is it is available continually. Now, if you keep it on one home and there's some left over, then there's a little bit of difference of what's available. But the mortgage company will help you walk through that and make sure that we can get all that to the maximum what you're allowable.
Okay. Yeah, because I was definitely one of those veterans, years ago when I got my VA loan, that was like, I was told, you hear things that, you can only utilize it one time. And that was the one thing that I held for many, many years until I started talking with realtors who specialize like yourself in the VA loans and the VA process. And they let you know, no, you actually can continue to use it. There's stipulations that you just mentioned within it, but you can keep using that benefit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So for many veterans transitioning out of service and looking to buy that first home, what advice do you give them to set themselves up for success financially?
The biggest thing is look at your finances and see if you're prepared to buy. It may be that you will want to rent for a little bit in that area where you're looking so that you understand where you're going to buy. Some neighborhoods are a little bit better than other neighborhoods in a city. And if you rent, you'll kind of get used to the neighborhood and that kind of stuff prior to buying something. Now, if you already know the neighborhood because that's where you grew up, absolutely jump in and make sure that you're prepared with down payments and all those things. Talk to the realtor, interview realtors. So talk to several and see if they fit for you. And if they don't, move on. And there's plenty of realtors out there that will work with veterans and do a very good job. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, call me. I'll make sure I take good care of you.
Absolutely. James, so what's the difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved?
So the mortgage company goes through a different process. So the pre-approved, they did a quick cursory look at your finances and saying, yeah, we think we can approve you for this amount of money. The pre-qualified means that they've dug deeper and actually looked at what is maybe done some research on if you have debt that may be hanging out there that maybe you forgot to tell them about or something like that. And they've looked at it and said, yes, we're definitely able to approve you for the loan for this amount.
Okay. Wow. All right. I actually thought it was kind of like the other way around. The way I thought about it actually was, you're pre-qualified, you got like a high level look and you're like,
but you may be right. I may have mixed that up with.
oh no, no, you're in the business. Just me and my psyche.
Sometimes I get that confused too because that's part of the thing that I don't deal with generally.
Yeah.
I hand that off to the lender who does all that. So I can help the individual look at you're pre-qualified or pre-approved.
Yeah. No. I mean, I totally get it. I mean, no, that's awesome. Thank you for clearing that up for me and probably majority of my listeners who may have had it mixed up as well. No, that's greatly appreciated. Yeah. So the real estate market has been changing rapidly in the recent years, as we all know. How do you help buyers stay competitive and realistic in today's market conditions?
That's a tough question. This market, especially here in Indianapolis, is a little on the crazy side with some houses sitting for a long time and other houses not. And it's more of a buyer's market right now here in Indianapolis.
Okay.
So getting them in to see a house pre-qualified and ready to go to make that offer if they like the house is the important part of that process. We really need to make sure that they are ready to go to make that offer because there may be several different buyers potentially looking at that home and saying, yes, this is one I want. And offers come in and you need to be ready quickly to make that offer and get it accepted so it's yours.
Okay. Now, also, can you talk to us about the importance of like home inspections and appraisals and what buyers should expect during those stages?
Sure. Home inspections are a very important part of the buying process. Can you do without them? You can. I do not recommend that because the home inspection really tells you all the different things that maybe at a cursory look you do not see. So maybe there's an issue with the foundation that maybe when you looked at it, it didn't look like it was a big problem. That home inspector can say, hey, I think this needs to be looked at by a structural engineer because we have some water that's coming through the wall or it's sagging. And so that can be a very costly thing for the buyer after close if it goes through and now it starts to fall apart and you have a $30,000 bill of repairing something like that. So it's a good thing to make sure that you do the home inspections and see what the major defects are and then ask for the seller to fix some of those things. Or if it's so bad that there's no way that the seller will be able to do that, or you walk away and find something else that is better fit for what you're looking at.
Okay. All right.
For the appraisal is on the mortgage side. That's a separate inspection, so to speak, of what the house would sell for on the market, and it does a lot of comparisons with those in the similar type of home, and the area there as close as they can get to it. So if you have several in the neighborhood that meet that qualification that are similar, they'll use the neighborhood, or they'll use something a little bit larger in that area. And then they tell the bank, say, hey, yes, this is appraised for X amount, which is above your agreed upon price for the offer, right? When that happens, sometimes those appraisals come in lower than what the offer was. So let's say the offer was 230,000 and it was accepted. And now the appraisal comes back and it's 220,000. That's a $10,000 gap. So what happens then? The seller either has to lower the price to that value, or they tell the buyer that they have to come up with $10,000 more out of their pocket, which generally, especially for first-time home buyers, that's never going to happen.
Right.
And so if that doesn't work out and they're not willing to make that change, then the deal falls through.
Okay. Just something that just popped in my head, a question. So that same exact scenario where it appraised for 220, the offer is 230. With the VA loan, would the person still have to come up with that $10,000?
The seller can ask for that. The veteran would say, no, I'm not going to do that. But if they want the home, then yes, that's part of what would have to be anteed up if they decide to do that. It's all part of the negotiations that you have between the buyer and the seller. And that's what the real estate agents are supposed to help you with. Say, hey, are you comfortable with this? Are you willing to do this? If you are, then tell me, and we'll make that offer, or that counter offer, saying yes, we do that. Or if it's not, then they say no. Either the seller makes that adjustment to the price of the appraisal, or we're out.
Okay.
And that's part of that negotiation that happens when those things come in.
Yeah. And I'm so happy you even mentioned negotiation. So once someone finds a home they love, how do you guide them through making an offer and negotiating effectively?
So I generally have a comparative analysis already for them to say, hey, this is what I think it should be listed for, and the offer should be made for. But it's always the buyer's choice to say, hey, I don't care what you say. I want to offer this much, whether it's below what I'm telling them or above. And I caution people to really listen to the experience of the realtor, because they know the market. You have some people that come in and say, hey, this is listed for 230,000. I want to offer 190,000. I'm going, whoa, time out. If there's nothing wrong with this house, no major defects or anything like that, why are you trying to lowball this offer when I've done my research and it's $225,000 to $30,000 comparison? And we have to have that discussion and say, hey, that doesn't make sense. There'll be two things that could possibly happen. One, they'll counteroffer it, or they'll totally reject your offer and not want to work with you ever. Yeah, I've had a couple that done that. I said, look, you can do this. We can put the offer in if that's what you want. However, if you do this, the chances are that they will not want to work with you, even if you come back with another offer that's within the price range. And sellers get upset sometimes when something happens like that. A good real estate agent on the seller side should help temper that, but sometimes they don't.
Okay. You know, James, I'm so happy you even mentioned that, because in my eyes, or my thought process, I say, we all hear that if I make an offer, you as my realtor have to submit it. And so in our head, or in my head anyway, I make that offer, then, okay, that person, 9 times out of 10 is going to come back to me. So even though it's a low ball offer, you submit it. In my psyche, I'm thinking, okay, that person, I'm going to make this low ball offer because I know that person's going to come back and negotiate, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. But I like what you said, that sometimes people aren't going to play that game because I assume because it might be insulting to them. Is that the case?
Yes, that's exactly right. So if you are so far down away from that list price, unless you have a very good reason to do that, and an agent-to-agent discussion before that offer is sent, that counteroffer is sent, should be had so that they understand that when this offer comes, this is why it's coming at this price.
Okay.
If that doesn't happen and you just send that offer in, the chances are there'll be some consternation on that seller side saying, hey, why are they lowballing me? Right? Why are they doing this? There's nothing wrong with this house. And so they can get pretty upset.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's great. That's good stuff. Didn't know. But I mean, it's an emotional thing for a seller because this has been his or her baby for so long, and to say, you come here with this low ball offer, I'm insulted, number one. So I'm not even gonna make her counter offer. That makes sense to me though. Wow. Yeah.
Absolutely. So on the seller side, if the real estate agent is doing the right job for the listing, they have set the price based on comparisons in the neighborhood and what's been sold lately, and have that discussion with that seller saying, hey, this is where we need to be to make it sell. And there are times that the seller will say, no, my house is worth more than that, and we want to put it at this price. The danger with that is that it sits on the market too long. And then people think that, hey, there's something wrong with this house, even though there's not, because it's sitting. People seeing it, looking at it, and going, what's wrong with this house? Because it's sitting on the market for 45 to 60 days or even 4 months, and there's not been any action on it because the price is too high.
Right, right. So, James, what are some hidden costs or fees buyers don't often realize they're going to face during closing?
So that's why we talk about that process in buyers.
Okay.
That inspection, the earnest money, which goes towards the closing costs, right? All the closing for the final numbers. So that really comes back to you, but that is an upfront cost, whether that's 1% or whatever is worked out between you and the buyer, right? Appraisals, they don't think about that when they go through this process, but that has to be paid before that is released so that they can see whether the house appraised for the proper price or not. Repairs. Sometimes as you go through the inspection, the seller will say, hey, I'm not going to do any repairs. So the cost is, okay, what am I going to be willing to do? And it will be after the fact generally. So that's a cost that happens after close generally if you're going to do those repairs on your own, if the seller will not do those. Those are the three big things that people don't understand and see. And that's a really good reason why an agent is very helpful in making sure that you understand what that process is, how it happens, and when it happens in that process.
Okay, great. Now, as someone who has both served and continues to serve your community, what do you see as your mission in real estate today?
I think it's really providing the service to the veterans and our community that are of that nature, to get them the best deal and serve them as well as should be happening, so that they get the ability to own their own home and that American dream that we all look for, right? And do it in a manner that makes them happy and make sure that they are well served because of the service that they have. And that goes with these young guys for first-time home buyers as well. These young guys that are trying to make their mark, all that happens and does well.
Okay. Have you seen that there's been less activity of people wanting to buy at this, current stage?
Yes, a little bit of that. But when I talk to people, if they are able to buy, they need to buy when they're able to buy. When it's the right time to buy, when they're ready to buy. If they have the means to do that, absolutely, it's best to do it now. If they are renting for $1,500 a month, they can probably afford a house, at least a starter house, for the same kind of money. And now they start building equity and moving forward to help propel them to a better life in the future.
Yeah, good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, because that movement, I mean, it started to happen, and I hear it often, and I don't quite get it because I'm a homeowner, and it's just having my piece of the American dream. I still believe in that whole American dream, and so just having something to come home to say it's mine, it gives me a sense of pride and achievement. So
I agree.
James, are there any local or national programs that first time or veteran buyers should know about that can make homeownership more accessible?
Absolutely. There are many different programs for first-time home buyers, and that includes veterans as well. So they can work with those mortgage lenders and those type of things to get those programs added to them. There's a caveat with that. Sometimes there's an extra little bit of a cost to that, but to be able to make that happen for you, it may be worth the extra little bit of a cost to make that happen.
Okay. So what's the most rewarding part of helping someone, especially a veteran, become a homeowner for the first time for you?
It just makes me feel like I'm able to give back and help somebody move forward in their life and have a better life. It's just a wonderful feeling to see them so excited about owning their own home and being able to have that American dream in their life and taking care of their family.
I like it. I like it. So for anyone listening who's on the fence about buying a home, what's your best advice to help them get started with confidence?
Talk to a realtor. Call me if you're in the Indianapolis area. Do that. I'll actually walk you through all that. Get pre-qualified. Do those things that you need to do to make sure your finances are good to be able to own your own home. That's the biggest thing is be prepared for that journey by starting with looking at your finances and talking to a realtor and a mortgage broker and say, hey, I want to own my own home. How do I get there? And they'll help you along that process.
Well, James, it has been a blast having you as our guest today. And as we close out, please tell our listeners where we can learn more about you, get in touch with you, and learn about all the fabulous things you have going on right now.
I'm out on Facebook. You can look me up, James Tillett Realtor. You can do that. I'm out on LinkedIn, James Tillett. So you can look me there. I have webpage, part of my brokerage, Blueprint. You can look up Blueprint Real Estate Group in Indianapolis, and we'll be here, and you can find me under one of the agents there. Reach out to me, email jamestillettrealtor@gmail.com. I'd be happy to answer for you.
Awesome. Awesome, James. Again, I want to thank you for your time today and all the wisdom you have provided to my listeners. It's greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you, our fans, for tuning into the Syndication Real Estate Podcast, where we want to add value to you and your investing business. Please tune in to our next episode where we will interview another fantastic real estate professional. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Service to Syndication Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate your support, and we are grateful about being a part of your journey to becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will get a lot out of what you just heard. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be in all areas of life. And if this was really valuable, share it on your social media stories and timelines. Thank you for watching and listening. Now go be great.